The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness of space like a metal city. Inside its largest meeting hall, alien leaders from 3 different worlds sat around a glowing table. Their faces showed anger, confusion, and fear. Commander, Tejo had been here just 3 days ago. The human officer had stood straight and tall, wearing his simple blue uniform. His dark eyes had looked directly at each alien leader as he spoke his final words. "You have 72 hours to remove all your ships from our solar system. If you do not leave, there will be consequences." The aliens had laughed at him then. Admiral Kale of the Vorthak Empire had clicked his sharp teeth together in amusement. His red skin had grown darker with pleasure as he thought about crushing the humans. The Vorthak were famous across the galaxy for their powerful warships and love of battle. Dr. Nira from the Zelani Collective had simply smiled with her blue lips. Her large silver eyes had sparkled as she calculated the odds. The Zelani were known for having the best technology and smartest computers in the galaxy. They never lost because they always knew exactly what would happen. High Mystic Veth of the Ashran Commonwealth had closed her 3 eyes and reached out with her mind. She could feel the thoughts of every human in the room. Their minds burned with determination, but also with something else she could not understand. The Ashran could read minds and see the future, making them nearly impossible to defeat. Together, these 3 species had brought over 3,000 warships to Earth's solar system. They wanted the planet's water, metals, and most of all, they wanted to make humans into their slaves. Earth had only 12 ships to defend itself. 12 small vessels against 3,000 massive warships. The math was simple and cruel. But when the 72 hours ended, something impossible happened. Admiral Kale stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Bloodfang. He was looking through the large windows at the space where the human fleet had been waiting. His officers were checking their weapons and preparing to attack. The time for talking was over. "Begin the assault," Kyle ordered. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stone, but when he looked out at the enemy, there was nothing there. "Where are the human ships?" Kyle demanded. His red eyes searched the empty space. Just moments before, 12 human vessels had been floating in a defensive formation. Now there was only darkness and distant stars. "Sir, our sensors show nothing," reported his weapons officer. "No ships, no energy readings, no debris. It is as if they were never there." On her science vessel, Dr. Nira was running every test her advanced computers could perform. Her fingers moved quickly over glowing control panels. Numbers and charts filled the screens around her. But every test gave the same result. "This cannot be correct," she muttered to herself. Her silver eyes grew wide as she read the data again and again. Ships cannot simply disappear. They must go somewhere, they must leave some trace. Her most powerful sensors could detect a single atom from 1,000,000 kilometers away. Her quantum scanners could see through time itself. Her computers could calculate the position of every grain of space dust in the solar system, but they showed nothing where the human ships had been. High Mystic Veth sat in her meditation chamber, surrounded by floating crystals that helped focus her psychic powers. She reached out with her mind, searching for the humans she had sensed before. Their thoughts had been bright and fierce, burning like small suns in the darkness of space. Now she found only emptiness. Not the emptiness of death, which left shadows and echoes. This was different. It was as if the human minds had never existed at all. "Impossible," she whispered. Her 3 eyes opened, glowing with purple light. "Minds cannot simply vanish. Thoughts leave traces. Souls leave marks. But there is nothing at all." The 3 alien leaders met again on Nexus Prime. This time no one was laughing. "My weapons were ready to fire," Admiral Kale said. His hands were shaking slightly. "I have conquered 40 worlds. I have never seen anything like this. Our technology is the most advanced in the galaxy," Dr. Nira added. Her usually calm voice had a crack in it. "We can track a single ship through hyperspace. We can detect cloaking devices. We can see through illusions. But this This is beyond our understanding. I felt their minds, High Mystic Veth said softly. They were there and then they were not. But it was not like death or travel. It was like they had never been real at all. The three species had come to Earth expecting an easy victory. They had brought their mightiest ships and their best warriors. They had planned to divide the planet between them after crushing its weak defenses. Instead, they were staring at empty space and asking questions they could not answer. Could they have fled? Asked one of Kale's officers. Our sensors would have detected any ship entering hyperspace, Dr. Nira replied. There were no energy signatures, no dimensional rifts, no temporal distortions. They did not travel anywhere. Could they have been destroyed? Asked another officer. There is no debris, Kyle said. No explosion leaves nothing behind. Even if every atom was scattered, we would detect the radiation. Could it have been an illusion? Asked a third. My mind touched theirs, Veth said. They were real. Their ships were real. Their weapons were real. But now they are simply gone. The alien fleet hung in space around Earth, no longer eager to attack. The blue and green planet turned slowly below them, looking peaceful and harmless. On its surface, millions of humans went about their daily lives, apparently unaware that their defenders had vanished. But the aliens no longer saw Earth as helpless prey. Something had happened here that their science could not explain. Something that made 12 small ships disappear without a trace. Something that left 3 of the galaxy's most powerful species confused and frightened. Admiral Kale looked down at the planet and felt a chill run through his red skin. What are you hiding down there? He whispered. The humans on Earth continued their normal routines. They went to work, took care of their families, and lived their simple lives. But somewhere in the darkness of space, 12 ships that should not exist were watching and waiting. The real war was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea what they were really fighting. 6 months had passed since the human fleet disappeared. The alien ships still floated around Earth like angry wasps around a hive they could not understand. But they had not attacked the planet yet. They were too scared to move. Every day, Admiral Kale looked down at the blue world through his ship's windows. His red skin had grown pale with worry. Send another probe to the surface, he ordered his crew. I want to know what these humans are hiding. Dr. Nira had built dozens of research stations in Earth's orbit. Her silver eyes rarely blinked anymore as she studied every piece of data her computers could gather. There must be something we are missing, she told her assistants. Ships do not vanish without leaving clues. High Mystic Veth spent hours each day in deep meditation, trying to touch the minds of humans on the planet below. But every time she thought she found something interesting, it slipped away like water through her fingers. Down on Earth, life seemed perfectly normal. In Seoul, a scientist named Jae-min worked in his laboratory every day. He studied plants and how they grew in different soils. His experiments were simple and peaceful. When alien investigators came to visit him, he showed them his work with a friendly smile. I'm just trying to help farmers grow better crops, Jae-min explained. His English was careful and slow. Would you like some tea while you look at my research? The alien investigators searched through all his papers and computers. They found only notes about soil and water and sunlight. Nothing about spaceships or weapons or advanced technology. In Busan, an engineer named Soo-jin maintained the city's power systems. She checked cables and fixed broken generators. Her work clothes were always dirty from crawling through tunnels and climbing electrical towers. When aliens asked her about the missing fleet, she looked confused. I know nothing about spaceships, Soo-jin said. She wiped grease from her hands with an old cloth. I work with electricity. Very boring electricity that powers lights and computers. Nothing special. But the aliens noticed something strange. The power systems she maintained were incredibly efficient. They used less energy than should be possible and never seemed to break down. When they asked her about this, she just shrugged. Korean engineering is very good, she said simply. In a small farming village, Do-yoon tended his rice fields like his father and grandfather had done before him. His hands were rough from working in the dirt. His back was bent from years of planting and harvesting. When alien researchers interviewed him, he offered to share his lunch. Farming is hard work but honest work, Do-yoon said. He pointed to his green fields that stretched toward the mountains. The rice grows, we harvest it, people eat. Simple life. Yet his crops grew faster and stronger than any the aliens had seen on other worlds. When they tested the soil, they found it was just ordinary dirt. When they tested the water, it was just normal water. But something made his plants grow in ways that seemed impossible. The most confusing case was Commander Hyun-woo. 6 months ago, he had been Captain Taeho's second-in-command on the flagship Terra's Pride. Now he worked as a traffic controller in Busan, directing hover cars through busy intersections. I was discharged from the Earth Defense Force before the aliens arrived, Hyun-woo explained to the investigators. He showed them official papers with stamps and signatures. I had health problems, bad back, could not serve anymore. The aliens checked his medical records. Everything looked correct. His discharge papers were dated 2 weeks before the confrontation. His doctor visits were all recorded. His new job application was filed properly, but something felt wrong about it all. Where do you think your old ship went? They asked him. Hyun-woo shrugged and adjusted his traffic controller uniform. Maybe they flew away to another star system. Maybe they are hiding behind the moon. I do not know. I just help people get to work on time now. Even stranger was Dr. Yoon-jung. The aliens' records showed she had been the chief scientist on the human flagship. She had designed their weapons, and shields and engines. But now she taught young children in a small mountain school. You must be mistaken, Yoon-jung said with a gentle laugh. She was showing her students how to add numbers using colored blocks. I have always been a teacher. I love working with children. They ask such wonderful questions. The alien investigators looked at her classroom. It was full of simple things like books and pencils and drawings made by small hands. There was no sign of advanced science or secret technology, just a kind woman teaching children how to read and count. But when they tested her knowledge, they found something troubling. She knew more about advanced physics than most alien scientists. When they asked her difficult questions about space and energy and matter, she answered them perfectly while still helping a 6-year-old student with his homework. Oh, I read a lot in my free time, she explained. Science is very interesting, but teaching children is more important. All across Earth, the aliens found the same pattern. Humans who should have been important military officers were now ordinary workers. Scientists who should have built incredible weapons were now teachers and doctors and shopkeepers. Engineers, who should have designed impossible technology, were now fixing simple machines and growing food. But every one of them was too smart for their simple jobs. The farmer knew too much about soil chemistry. The traffic controller understood too much about complex systems. The teacher knew too much about advanced science. It was as if brilliant minds were hiding behind ordinary faces. Dr. Nira spent months analyzing this puzzle. It makes no sense, she told her research team. Either these humans are lying about who they are, or Earth has the smartest ordinary people in the galaxy. Maybe both things are true, suggested one of her assistants. Meanwhile, strange reports began coming in from across the solar system. Fourth-act patrol ships investigating the asteroid belt sometimes detected brief sensor shadows. For just a moment, their instruments would show large objects moving at impossible speeds. But when they looked more carefully, nothing was there. Zelani. Research stations orbiting the outer planets recorded gravitational anomalies that lasted only seconds. Space would bend and twist as if huge ships were passing by, but their cameras saw nothing but empty darkness. Ashran meditation fleets conducting their spiritual exercises beyond Neptune reported the strangest experiences of all. Their psychics would suddenly feel human minds touching theirs for just an instant. The thoughts were familiar, like voices they had heard before, but when they tried to reach back, the contact vanished. It is like trying to catch smoke, High Mystic Veth explained to her fellow leaders. For a moment, I sense Captain Taeho's mind. Then it is gone. For an instant, I feel the thoughts of his crew. Then nothing. Are they dead or alive? Admiral? Kale asked. I do not know, Veth admitted. They feel alive when I touch them, but they also feel distant. as if they are very far away or perhaps very close but in a place I cannot reach. The aliens began to realize they were facing something beyond their understanding. The humans on Earth seemed simple and harmless, but their missing fleet was somehow still out there, playing games with space and time and reality itself. And every day, more of their own ships reported strange encounters with things that should not exist. 1 year had passed since the human fleet vanished, and the aliens were no longer feeling confident about their conquest of Earth. What had started as a simple invasion was becoming a nightmare they could not wake up from. The first disappearance happened quietly. A Vorthak patrol ship called Sharpclaw was investigating asteroids near Mars, looking for any trace of human technology. Captain Zek was an experienced warrior who had fought in dozens of battles across the galaxy. "All systems normal," reported his weapons officer. "No energy readings detected in this sector." "Continue the search," Zek ordered. His red skin was marked with scars from old battles. The humans must have hidden something out here. But 30 minutes later, the Sharpclaw sent an emergency message. "Engine problems," Zek's voice crackled over the radio. "We are losing power. Send help immediately." Then the radio went silent. When the rescue ship arrived 6 hours later, they found the Sharpclaw floating peacefully among the asteroids. All its systems were working perfectly. The engines were running smoothly. The life support was operating normally. The weapons were fully charged and ready to fire, but there was no crew aboard. Captain Zek and his 50 warriors had simply vanished. There were no signs of fighting, no damage to the ship, no blood or broken equipment. The security cameras showed the crew working normally, and then suddenly, the cameras went blank for exactly 3 minutes. When they came back on, the ship was empty. Admiral Kale studied the report with growing unease. "This makes no sense," he growled. "Where did they go?" "Perhaps they were transported somewhere," suggested his science officer. "Transported? Where?" Kyle demanded. "Our sensors detected no energy beams, no teleportation signatures, no dimensional rifts. They just disappeared." 3 days later, it happened again. A Zalani science vessel called Deep Thought was studying Jupiter's moons, trying to understand how the human fleet had vanished so completely. Dr. Yell was the ship's captain, and she had the most advanced detection equipment in the galaxy. "I am reading strange energy patterns near Europa," she reported to her base station. "Something is definitely happening here. The quantum fields are fluctuating in ways that should be impossible." Her last message was excited and confused. "Wait. I am seeing something. The instruments are showing massive objects approaching, but I cannot see anything with my cameras. This is incredible. The energy signatures match the missing human fleet, but how can they be invisible?" And then silence. The rescue team found Deep Thought orbiting Europa in perfect condition. Every system was running normally. The scientific instruments were still collecting data, but Dr. Yell and her crew of 30 scientists had disappeared without a trace. The ship's computers showed that the crew had been working normally when suddenly all life signs vanished at exactly the same time. It was as if they had never been there at all. Dr. Nira examined the data from both incidents. Her silver eyes were wide with fear. "This is the same pattern as the human fleet," she told Admiral Kyle and High Mystic Veth. "Complete disappearance with no physical evidence." "Are you saying the humans are responsible?" Kale asked. "I do not know," Nira admitted. "But who else could make our people vanish the same way their ships did?" The disappearances began happening more often. A Vorthak supply convoy vanished while traveling between Mars and Earth. An Ashran meditation ship disappeared during a ritual in the outer solar system. A Zalani research outpost on one of Saturn's moons went silent, its crew of 100 scientists simply gone. Each time the pattern was the same. No signs of struggle, no damage to equipment, no traces of where the crews had gone. They were just there one moment and gone the next. High Mystic Veth spent days trying to understand what was happening. She reached out with her psychic powers, searching for the missing aliens, but she found something even more disturbing. "They are not dead," she told the other leaders. I can sense their minds, but they are different. Changed somehow. Changed. How? Admiral Kale demanded. They seem peaceful, Veth said slowly. Calm. Happy even. But they also feel distant, as if they are very far away from us. That is impossible, Dr. Nira said. Our people do not just become peaceful and happy when they are kidnapped. But the evidence was clear. The aliens were being taken one by one, and somehow they were not being harmed. They were being changed. The remaining alien forces began pulling back toward Earth, hoping that staying close together would keep them safe. But even in the heart of their combined fleet, ships continued to disappear. The Blood Moon, a massive, fourth-act battleship, vanished from the center of a formation of 50 other vessels. One moment it was there surrounded by friendly ships. The next moment, there was empty space where it had been. How is this possible? Admiral Kale shouted at his officers. It was surrounded by our own ships. No enemy could approach without being seen, but the security recordings from the surrounding vessels showed the same impossible thing. The Blood Moon was there and then it was not. No explosion, no energy beam, no portal opening. It simply ceased to exist for exactly 7 seconds, and when it reappeared it was empty of crew. The most frightening incident happened to an entire Ashran meditation fleet. 50 ships were performing a deep space ritual beyond Neptune, their crews linked together in a powerful psychic network. High Mystic Veth was monitoring them from her flagship when something incredible happened. I am sensing something, she reported to her assistants. The meditation is going deeper than usual. The crews are reaching a level of consciousness I have never felt before. The 50 ships were arranged in a complex geometric pattern, their hulls glowing with psychic energy. The ritual was supposed to help the Ashran understand the mysteries of the universe. Instead, it helped them understand that they were no longer alone in their minds. There are others here, came a whispered message from the fleet. Human thoughts but not human. Changed. Different. They are showing us things we never knew. Then all 50 ships went silent at exactly the same time. When the rescue fleet arrived, they found the ships arranged in an even more perfect geometric pattern than before. Every system was running smoothly, but all 1,500 crew members had vanished. The most disturbing part was what High Mystic Veth sensed when she reached out with her psychic powers. The missing crews were still there in some way, but they were no longer entirely Ashran. Their minds had been touched by something human, and they had become something new. They chose to go, she whispered in shock. They were offered a choice, and they chose to leave us. Back on Earth, life continued as normal. Teacher Mi Kyung taught her students about history and science. Mechanic Jin Ho repaired hovercars in his small garage. Dr. Ye Jin treated patients at the local hospital. When alien investigators asked them about the missing crews, they expressed polite concern, but claimed no knowledge of what was happening. It is very sad that your people are disappearing, Mi Kyung said while helping a young student with her reading. But I do not understand how such things could happen. I am just a simple teacher. Jinho looked up from the engine he was repairing. Maybe your ships have mechanical problems, he suggested helpfully. I could take a look at them if you want. I am good with fixing things. Dr. Ye-jin shook her head sadly while bandaging a patient's cut finger. I hope your friends are safe somewhere, she said. But I only know how to help sick people. I know nothing about spaceships or mysterious disappearances. But the aliens were beginning to notice something else about the humans. They were all too calm about the situation. When told that hundreds of alien crew members had vanished, the humans showed concern but no surprise. It was as if they expected such things to happen, and sometimes when the aliens were not looking directly at them, the humans seemed to be listening to something that was not there. Their eyes would focus on empty air, and they would nod slightly, as if receiving instructions from invisible voices. The alien alliance was falling apart. They had come to conquer Earth with 3,000 ships. Now they had fewer than 1,000 left, and more disappeared every day. The hunters had become the hunted, but they could not see their enemy or understand how they were being defeated. Admiral Kale looked down at Earth with new respect and fear. What are you? he whispered to the blue planet. What are you really? 2 years after the human fleet disappeared, only 800 alien ships remained from the original 3,000. The 3 species were ready to abandon their conquest and flee back to their home worlds. But Dr. Nira was not ready to give up. She had been working day and night to solve the mystery that had cost them so much. There has to be an explanation, she muttered to herself in her laboratory aboard the science ship Final Answer. Her silver eyes were red from lack of sleep. Her blue skin had grown pale from spending too much time under artificial lights. Ships do not just vanish. People do not just disappear. There must be science behind this. She had been studying the quantum fluctuations around Earth for months. These were tiny changes in space itself, so small that most sensors could not detect them. But Dr. Nira had built the most sensitive instruments in the galaxy. The patterns are not random, she told her assistant, Dr. Maul. Look at these readings. The fluctuations are controlled. Someone is manipulating space-time itself. Dr. Maul studied the data on the glowing screens. But who has such technology? Even our most advanced quantum computers cannot control space-time on this scale. The humans, Dr. Nira whispered. It has to be the humans. But how? The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. On Earth, in the city of Daejeon, a young physicist named Chan Ho was working late in his university laboratory. He was a graduate student studying quantum mechanics, trying to write his thesis about parallel dimensions. Chan Ho was tired and frustrated. His experiments were not working the way they should. His quantum computer kept giving him strange results. That made no sense. He was beginning to think his research was worthless. Maybe I should change my major, he said to himself. Maybe quantum physics is too difficult for me. He reached for his cup of coffee, but his tired hands were shaking. The cup slipped from his fingers and spilled hot coffee all over his experimental quantum computer.
No, Chan Ho cried out. He had spent 2 years building that machine. Now it was ruined by his clumsiness. But as the coffee soaked into the circuits, something amazing happened. The computer's screens began showing readings that should have
been impossible. Numbers and coordinates appeared that matched no known physics. Energy signatures filled the display that violated every law of science Chan Ho had learned. And then he saw them. Ship signatures. Hundreds of them. The data showed the exact locations and energy patterns of vessels that existed, but somehow did not exist in normal space. What is this? Chan Ho whispered. He tried to copy the data to his backup drives, but as soon as the coffee dried up, the impossible readings vanished. The computer returned to normal function, as if nothing had happened. But Chan Ho had seen enough. The coffee spill had created a brief bridge between normal space and something else, some other dimension where ships could exist without being detected by conventional sensors. He sat in his chair, staring at the now normal computer screen, as the truth hit him like a physical blow. They are not gone, he said aloud. The ships are not gone. They are just somewhere else, somewhere we cannot see them. The young physicist spent the rest of the night trying to recreate what had happened. He spilled more coffee on his computer, but nothing happened. He tried water, juice, even soup, but the brief window into the other dimension had closed. Still, he had learned enough. The human fleet had not been destroyed or fled to another star system. They had moved into a parallel quantum state, existing in the same space but shifted, out of phase with normal reality. They could see everything that happened in normal space, but they could not be seen or detected. It was the perfect hiding place. And it explained how alien crews were disappearing. The human ships could phase back into normal space just long enough to take people, then vanish again before anyone could respond. Chan Ho tried to tell his professors about his discovery, but they did not believe him. You are working too hard, his advisor said. Coffee spills do not reveal secret dimensions. You need to get more sleep. But someone was listening. The next morning, Chan Ho found a note on his desk written in perfect Korean. Your research is very interesting. We should talk. Meet me at the coffee shop on campus at noon. A friend. Chan Ho was nervous. But his curiosity was stronger than his fear. At noon, he went to the coffee shop and found a woman sitting alone at a corner table. She looked like an ordinary middle-aged Korean woman, wearing simple clothes and reading a newspaper. But her eyes were too bright, too knowing. "You are Chan-ho," she said without looking up from her newspaper. It was not a question. "Yes," he replied. "Are you the one who left the note?" "Sit down," she said gently. "My name is Sunmi. I am a teacher at a local elementary school, but I also help coordinate certain scientific projects." Chan-ho sat down, his hands shaking slightly. "What kind of projects?" Sunmi folded her newspaper and looked at him directly. "The kind that keep our world safe from people who want to hurt us." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small device that looked like a simple smartphone. But when she turned it on, the screen showed the same impossible readings that Chan-ho had seen on his coffee-soaked computer. "You discovered something very important last night," Sunmi said. "You found evidence of quantum phase shifting. This technology allows objects to exist in multiple probability states at the same time." "The ships," Chan-ho whispered. "The human fleet. They are in quantum phase space." "Very good," Sunmi smiled. "But that is only part of the truth. Would you like to know the rest?" Chan-ho nodded eagerly. Sunmi touched her device and the screen showed a map of Earth. But this was not a normal map. It showed energy patterns covering the entire planet like a glowing web. "Every human on Earth carries a personal quantum phase generator," she explained. "We appear normal to outside observers, but we actually exist partially outside conventional space-time. We are all connected to each other and to our fleet through quantum entanglement." Chan-ho stared at the map in amazement. "Everyone? The entire population?" "Everyone," Sunmi confirmed. "The farmer in the countryside, the businessman in Seoul, the fisherman on the coast. We all share information instantly through quantum links. We are like a single organism with billions of parts. But why?" Chan-ho asked. "Why hide this from the aliens?" Sunmi's expression grew serious. "Because they came here to enslave us. They thought we were weak and primitive. It was better to let them keep thinking that while we prepared our real response." She touched the device again, and the screen showed footage from space. Alien ships were disappearing one by one, their crews vanishing without a trace. "Where are the missing aliens?" Chan-ho asked. "Safe," Sunmi replied. "We do not kill our enemies. We give them a choice. They can remain prisoners in quantum phase, space, or they can join us in building a better galaxy. Most choose to join us once they understand what we are really offering." Chan-ho felt overwhelmed by the implications. "How long has humanity had this technology?" "We have been preparing for first contact for over 50 years, Sunmi said. "We knew that when other species found us, some of them would be friendly and some would not. We decided to be ready for both possibilities." As if responding to their conversation, both Chan-ho and Sunmi received the same message at exactly the same time. It appeared directly in their minds without any device or communication system. Commander Taeho's voice spoke to every human on Earth simultaneously. "The time for hiding is over. Send the message to our guests. They have 24 hours to leave our system peacefully, or they will join their missing crews in quantum phase space permanently." Sunmi smiled at Chan-ho's shocked expression. "You wanted to know the truth about quantum mechanics," she said. "Now you know. The question is, are you ready to help us use it?" In space above Earth, the remaining alien ships detected an impossible transmission on all frequencies. It was Commander Taeho's voice, speaking as clearly as if he were standing on their bridges. "This is Commander Taeho of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have seen what we are capable of. Your missing ships and crews are safe but will not be returned to you. You have 24 hours to withdraw all forces from our solar system. This is your final warning." Admiral Kale, Dr. Nira, and High Mystic Veth looked at each other with new understanding. They had not been fighting a small human fleet. They had been fighting an entire species that had evolved beyond their comprehension. The revelation was complete. Humanity had been hiding in plain sight, pretending to be weak while wielding technology that turned the laws of physics into suggestions. They had converted defeat into victory without firing a single shot. and now the aliens had 24 hours to decide their fate. The 24-hour countdown had begun, and the remaining alien leaders faced the most difficult decision of their lives. Admiral Kyle paced back and forth on the bridge of his flagship, his red skin dark with anger and fear. Dr. Nira stared at her computers, trying to find some weakness in humanity's impossible technology. High Mystic Veth sat in deep meditation, reaching out with her psychic powers to understand what they were really facing. "We could retreat," Dr. Nira said quietly. "We have already lost over 2,000 ships and crews. Perhaps it would be wise to leave and warn the rest of the galaxy about humanity's capabilities." "Run away?" Admiral Kale snarled. "The Vorthak Empire does not flee from battle. We are the greatest warriors in the galaxy." "But we are fighting an enemy we cannot see or touch," Dr. Nira replied. "How do you defeat ships that exist in quantum phase space? How do you battle an entire species that can disappear at will?" "Hi." Mystic Veth opened her 3 eyes glowing with purple light. "I have been touching the minds of our missing crews," she said softly. "They are not dead or tortured. They are content, happy even. The humans are not monsters. They are something else entirely. That makes them more dangerous, not less," Kale growled. "An enemy who kills you is simple to understand. An enemy who changes you into something else is terrifying." The 3 leaders had gathered their remaining 800 ships into a massive defensive formation around Earth. Every weapon was charged and ready. Every shield was at maximum power. If they were going to make a final stand, they would do it with honor. But as the deadline approached, they began to understand that honor might not be enough. With 1 hour remaining, space around Earth began to change. At first, it was just small distortions in starlight, as if the vacuum itself was bending. Then ripples appeared in the darkness, like waves on an invisible ocean. "Quantum phase shifts detected," reported Dr. Nira's science officer. "Massive objects are materializing throughout the solar system." What emerged from quantum phase space was beyond anything the aliens had imagined. The original 12 human ships appeared first, but they were no longer alone. Hundreds of vessels materialized around them, their hulls gleaming with technology that seemed to blend metal and pure energy. "Where did all those ships come from?" Admiral Kale demanded. "They have been building," High Mystic Veth whispered in amazement. "For 2 years they have been constructing vessels in quantum phase space, using resources we could not see. But the most shocking sight was yet to come. Mixed among the human ships were familiar forms: Vorthak battle cruisers, Zelani, science vessels, and Ashran meditation ships. Every vessel that had disappeared over the past 2 years was there, but they had been changed. Their hulls showed modifications that defied understanding, and their energy signatures were completely different. "Those are our ships," Dr. Nira breathed. "But they have been altered with human technology." On the bridge of one of the converted Vorthak dreadnoughts stood Captain So Young, wearing a simple Korean military uniform. 2 years ago, she had been a librarian in the city of Incheon, helping children find books and learn to read. Now she commanded a warship that could phase between dimensions at will. "All stations report ready," she announced to her crew. Half of them were humans who had been ordinary citizens just months before. The other half were former Vorthak warriors who had chosen to join humanity's cause, rather than remain prisoners in quantum phase space. On a converted Zelani science vessel, Engineer Minho ran final diagnostics on systems that combined human quantum technology with alien computing power. He had been a bicycle repairman in Daegu, but the quantum enhancement process had unlocked abilities he never knew he possessed. "Quantum phase drives are stable," he reported, "ready to demonstrate our capabilities." Leading a squadron of hybrid, human-alien fighters was Dr. Hei-Wan, a retired pediatrician who had spent 40 years helping sick children. Now she piloted a ship that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, her mind enhanced by quantum technology to process information at superhuman speeds. "Formation ready," she announced. "Awaiting orders from the flagship, Commander." Taeho stood on the bridge of his converted flagship, looking out at the massive alien fleet that surrounded Earth. His ship had been built using the best technology from all three alien species, enhanced with human quantum engineering. It was more than a warship. It was a statement about what humanity could achieve when they stopped pretending to be weak. "Open a channel to the alien command vessels," he ordered. His image appeared on every alien bridge simultaneously, transmitted through quantum entanglement rather than radio waves. He looked calm and professional, like a businessman about to discuss a simple contract. "Admiral Kale, Dr. Nira, High Mystic Veth," he said with a slight bow of respect. "You have seen what we are capable of. Your fleets, your technology, your people, they all exist at our discretion now. We do not wish to be your enemies, but we will not allow you to threaten our world or any other peaceful civilization." Admiral Kale found his voice first. "What have you done to our crews?" "We have given them a choice," Commander Tejo replied. "They could remain prisoners in quantum phase space, cut off from normal reality forever, or they could join us in building something better than the galaxy has ever seen. Most chose to join us." "Join you to do what?" Dr. Nira demanded. "To explore the universe without conquering it," Tejo said simply. "To share knowledge instead of hoarding it. To protect peaceful species instead of enslaving them. Your people have seen what is possible when different species work together instead of fighting." High Mystic Veth reached out with her psychic powers, touching the minds of her former subjects aboard the hybrid ships. What she found shocked her. "They are happy," she whispered. "Happier than they ever were serving our empires. They have found purpose beyond warfare and conquest." "That is impossible," Admiral Kale snarled. "The Vorthak live for battle. We cannot be happy without war. Your people have discovered that there are better battles to fight," Commander Tejo said gently. "The battle against ignorance. The battle against suffering. The battle against the darkness between stars that threatens all intelligent life." He gestured to the fleet around him. Hundreds of ships crewed by humans and aliens working together as equals. "This is our offer to you," he continued. "Join us willingly and help us build a galaxy where no species needs to fear conquest or slavery. Your knowledge, your strength, your unique abilities. We need all of it to face the real challenges that await us among the stars." "And if we refuse?" Admiral Kale asked. "Then you are free to leave our solar system and never return," Tejo said. "But you may not take any human worlds or citizens, and you may not threaten any other peaceful species. If you do, we will find you no matter where you hide." To demonstrate this point, the human fleet performed an impossible maneuver. In perfect synchronization, every ship phased out of normal space and reappeared in a completely different formation. They had moved faster than light without using hyperspace, surrounding the alien fleet from all directions in the space of a single heartbeat. "How?" Dr. Nira whispered. "Quantum tunneling on a massive scale," Commander Tejo explained. "We can be anywhere in the galaxy instantly. We can watch over every star system simultaneously. The age of conquest through superior firepower is over." Admiral Kale looked around at his remaining ships, surrounded by an enemy that had mastered the fundamental forces of reality itself. His red skin had grown pale with the realization that everything he had believed about power and warfare was obsolete. "What guarantee do we have that you will not conquer the galaxy yourselves?" he asked. "The same guarantee you gave the species you conquered," Tejo replied. "None. But you can judge us by our actions. We could have destroyed your fleets when you first arrived. Instead, we offered your crews the choice to join us. We could have invaded your homeworlds by now. Instead, we are offering you the same choice we gave them." High Mystic Veth made her decision first. "I will stay," she announced. "My meditation fleets will join your cause. If there are truly greater mysteries to explore than warfare, I want to help find them." Dr. Nira was next. "Our science vessels are at your disposal," she said. "If you can combine our technology with your quantum engineering, perhaps we can solve problems that no single species could handle alone." Admiral Kyle was the last to decide. His warrior culture rebelled against the idea of surrender. But his practical mind understood the reality of their situation. They could not win against an enemy that had mastered quantum physics. "The Vorthak will withdraw," he said finally. "But we will be watching. If humanity proves to be no different from other conquerors, we will find a way to stop you." "We hope you will," Commander Tejo said with a smile. "The galaxy needs people who are willing to stand up to tyrants. We hope to earn your trust, but we do not expect it to be given freely." The demonstration was complete. The alien fleets began preparing to leave Earth's solar system, carrying news of humanity's impossible technology to every corner of the galaxy. But they also carried something else: hope that perhaps the universe could be better than it was. As the last alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, Commander Tejo looked down at Earth, spinning peacefully in its orbit.